Hey everyone, it's Larry here at LC Model Shipbuilding, and this episode we're going to be continuing our USS Olympia build. We will be working on the superstructure and some of the forward bow vents and the forward main gun. So it's coming along nicely. I like this model. I mean, a couple little quirks here and there that we kind of have to work through, and unfortunately, it was an eBay model, so I'm missing a part or two as I've been going, but nothing that won't be overly challenging to build or replicate. So please consider giving us a like and subscribe, and we always love having new people join the channel. So again, thank you very much for watching. Let's get started. Okay, so here are all our parts that I'm going to go ahead and paint white right now. So we got some water towers and conning towers and whatever else these are, vent box covers and all that good stuff. So I'm not painting the skylights yet, and they look like that right there, only because I want to see if I have photo etch. These are almost the exact same size as Titanic, and I think I have a set. So if I do, I'm going to use those, and then we'll get some light effect on it too. So we'll check that out. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and paint. So let me pause it, and I will be right back. Okay, so I got that built, and that's gonna work. Now I got my two that will go on the side there. Now, one thing I did see while I was looking at pictures, there would have been a hatch right here. So I have some leftover hatches from a 1-200 build that I can just put right on there, and that will give me that effect. Just gonna put a dab of glue about center-ish, and grab my tweezer. And we'll drop it on there, and of course I got glue on the outside there. There we go. Paint should cover that the rest of the way in, but there we go, we got a hatch. Now let's see, I'm looking at a lot of the stuff that I need to paint white. So I got smaller davits that go there. There's these anchor davits, and I also seem to be missing one of these, but I'm not positive that it's missing yet. So I'll determine what I'm doing with that here in a few minutes. I got all of the other davits here ready to go, and I'm just looking at things that I basically want to paint everything that will get me up to this part of the page here. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now, is determining that, and that way I don't waste the pot of paint once I mix it up. I usually like to try to paint many things at once. So we're gonna do these vents also, and they're gonna be in white with a red inside. Which again, I know that's not always the color on some builds. I've seen them different than others. Mine's gonna be white. It's kind of how I like it. Oh, I did find pulleys that I can use on these davits too. I know I was talking about that earlier and then got sidetracked with these. But yes, I found pulleys that I'm happy with. And I believe they were from my Titanic stash. Just want to clean up a little bit of the flashing on these. So there's 4 of these, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of these. 5 of number 23. So I'm gonna get these cleaned up, get them on there to paint, and then we'll see what else we can hit before our space is filled up. Now see here, this has some kind of deformity going on, so I'm going to kind of sand it back a little bit more to try to correct that a little. That's better, not great. That's going to have to go into a more inconspicuous place, unfortunately. The flashing, oh my. Just is not great. I probably shouldn't be showing me cutting towards myself. That's probably not the brightest thing to do in an instructional video. That one needs some work. There we go, close. Okay, that's better-ish. Hard part with these too is to try to keep the round true without making them go flat. Just a little bit more right there. Okay, I'll take that. Oh, you gotta be kidding, this one's just as bad. This one has issues on the uptake vid. Just because this is probably boring, I'm gonna skip ahead, do this one. I'll come back to that other one off camera. Okay, so I got one more to do. And I want to turn him so they're all facing the same direction. All right, next up, those will be black. And I believe those are black. Now we have these railings here for piece number 32 and 35. The walkway itself, I am going to paint white, even though it's supposed to be wood, because we have the wood decking that goes over top of it. So I will have that kind of taken care of just by what we're doing with this. A lot of flashing again. Ooh. Ugly when the parts get like that. Luckily, it didn't do too much on the actual part, just that one small section up here on the back side. Okay, I'm gonna need a pointy knife to kind of scrape that out. So anyway, the walkway, like I said, that I am also going to paint white because it will get covered with decking, and it will be off color if I don't, essentially. Not to mention, it would be steel under the wood decking, more than likely. So that's how I want to roll. A lot of times with this flashing on like these older Revell kits, simple scrape off with your hobby knife will take care of it. Okay, so I kind of didn't think this one out too well. We'll do that. Okay, and these are the pieces of that deck that I'm talking about there. So I'm gonna get them cut out. Now these stairwells I'm not gonna use, I already know that, so I'm just gonna cut them off right now because I'm gonna use photo etch for it. There we go with that. Now this, I can actually put sideways because I want to get the bottom and the top. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Over here. Okay, so there we go. I'll finish cleaning this up in a second. Just want to make sure I don't have any other ones that I'm missing here. Looks like some steps, but I'm going to be doing them in the photo. So that should about do, well, we got these down here. So 37, I got to figure out what they are. So it's a conning tower, so that's probably going to be white. Water tank, probably also going to be white. Yeah, let me take a look at these real quick before I determine what I'm doing. I'll clean this up and I'll be right back. Okay, so when you build a kit, or you buy a kit that was used on eBay, sometimes you run into problems and you have to improvise. So the windlass wall is missing from the kit, which shouldn't be too big of a deal to build. But this had some, well, windlasses on the sides of it, and then on the front, I do believe they would have been, well, little, what do you call it, little doors, so that, I don't know if chain or rope could go through them. But I'm going to look at another picture to try to determine exactly what I'm going to do here. But it's not that big of a deal. I've had to improvise worse in the past, so I'm sure we'll be okay. And the good thing is I have a lot of these, which are going to go in the front, I believe, and possibly these if they fit. I gotta see if they're too big. A little bit too big. Shoot. So at least I know those will work on the front. Or I might have to put them on the sides and then do something else on the front. There we go. These will go on the sides. No, I'm sorry. These will go on the sides. These will go on the fronts. Beautiful. Okay. So I got that worked out in my head. So now we just got to build the walls and put them on. So I'm just using styrene. And a little bit long. Close though. Still a touch long. And that'll work. So I want to do the pretty much exact same size over here on this one, and I'm not going to use scissors with this one. I'm going to use my nippers. Whoops. That should be pretty much the same. Okay, now I need some glue. Dum-de-dum. Just going to kind of build our wall here. And the same thing over on the other side. Okay. All right, now we need our front here. Which that should do. That'll work. And I'm just going to paint it all together, and then I'll paint the windlasses black with brush once we're all kind of assembled onto the deck, or maybe before, but in any case, I'm going to do everything white. Actually, I can add them on after although I do think the front are supposed to be white. That will work. Okay, so these guys are going to be white. And it looks like there's 3 of them, but I thought there were supposed to be 4. So I want to look at the picture before I go and glue these on. So let me do that and I will be back. Okay, here we are pretty much starting out right where we left off on the last video. So these are our walls that come on to the deck here, and that one actually goes over here. So as you can see, the guns poke out as such. Now it's calling for the lifeboat davits. I don't know if I'd call them lifeboat davits, but the boat davits to go on next as we do this. So I have to paint them up before I can go ahead and put this on. What is there? 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. This is calling for tan, but I think in the paint scheme that I am going with, I am going to use white, but I want to double check a couple pictures and historical things that I've been looking at before I make that determination. But regardless, I have to paint them up before I can put them on. Now, I see in the picture there's a little detail of something that looks like a pulley. I'm going to see what I have in my photo etch collection that I could replace that with. So here is our davits right here. And that's that little pulley I'm talking about, but I do believe I have something that is a photo etch pulley, which I would much sooner use if I do indeed have one. So I got to go through many different sheets of photo etch to figure out what would work best for me. But in the meantime, I can go ahead and get these cut out. And there is some flashing on them. You can see it right there a little bit. So nothing major. I can trim that right off. But it is there. Typical for Revell. I did see a comment that this was actually, while my box says 1982, the original molds for this were made in 1959. So this is definitely a much older kit than I had originally said. And I knew it was reboxed over the years, but I didn't know the exact date that the original was put out. So it kind of gives you an idea of how old the tooling was for this kit. But that being said, I mean, overall, I don't think it's a bad kit. Especially considering that a lot of kits even put out today don't have the same detailing that the hull does on this one. So, you know, I appreciate that. But yeah, I appreciate the comment there, correcting me. And I do know I had some other comments on some terminology, and yep, I know I'm not perfect on it. I try my best, but I'll try to do better in the future. That's all I can say. So Anyway, I'm going to work on getting these kind of filed up a little bit, get the seam lines off, and get them prepped for paint. And then we will return, because I don't think I can really do anything more until I get these on. Just with how it tucks under the wall there. Yeah, and the wall actually kind of holds it in place, so is what it is. But I'm gonna get these painted and I'll be back. Okay, so I went ahead and did the first side here. So we got the first side wall on, and it looks pretty good. These do move, but I'll probably end up gluing them. I don't know why you would want them to move like that, but whatever. They're there like that. So what we're gonna do is pop off those 4, and basically you just pop it onto, there's a little pin down inside there in between the 2 pieces of the hull, and you basically just pop it in, and then there you go. But like I said, I don't really see the point in it needing to move. It'd be one thing if the davit would, like, I don't know, make sense to move with the lifeboat under, or the boat underneath it, but it doesn't really. So yeah. The other thing I looked at, I do not now think this is a rail. I'm pretty sure that is just the floorboard, so that's going to remain white. I'll know more once I go to mount the deck here that goes along here, but I'm pretty sure that that goes flush, so that would just be the side of the hull and therefore not painted. But we will determine that as we go here. Okay, so there they are on, and yeah. So now to put this in here, this is kind of weird too. This is almost reminds me of a snap tight model when I went to put in the first one. So we're going to line our guns up with the holes. Important to make sure that you don't crush this back piece of deck right here. I mean, I technically probably should have waited to put this on, but I didn't. So you got to kind of hold that up. And then this superstructure here has these little nubs that have to kind of fit down in between the decking and where the wall kind of is. So they go in first, I found it easier to do it that way anyway. And they're all the way from front to back. So they clip into there, and then inside of the superstructure there's these little nubs that have to fit under the deck, and basically you're just going to kind of push it up a little bit until you get it to line where you want it to, and then I hit it with some glue in addition to get a better hold and tighten it up a little bit. So we're going to do that real quick, and I ended up using CA. Originally I was going to use model glue, but the gap that you need to fill in needs to kind of happen fairly quick, and if I did regular model glue, it would be drying forever. So I wasn't playing that game. So I basically just ran some along those circle areas where it kind of connects. And I did one section kind of like I just did, and then I'm going to hit it with some accelerant. Give it a second here. And then we're going to do the back side here. Sorry, I'm doing that off camera because I don't want to get my glue, because that stuff dries up in the bottle instantaneously. Okay, so there we are. We have our superstructure beginning to take shape. Now, there are two guns that go on both ends, so they just basically push in. And they do move. I didn't glue them on either side. Okay. And that's that. So now we're basically through here and through here. So we're onto this page. Did not paint the life raft yet, or I don't know if it's a life raft or just a raft, but I did not paint that yet, and kind of on purpose because I'd want to determine what color I want to go with it. We have our deck basically already down, and now we're up to our first gun. So there is that, and I need to paint the barrels yet. So I'm going to do that here in a moment. But we need to also install our two side pieces here. These are going to get painted black, and I'm just going to do these with a brush because spraying them just may take more effort than it's worth. And I don't think it'll honestly be that noticeable with any brush marks. So I think we'll be fine with that. Okay, let's get my paintbrush. I'm seeing one thing there that annoys me. I'm going to have to try to see if I can't fix that, but I don't know if I'll be able to. I kind of bent the deck in there a little bit. I should be able to mask that with the railings when it comes time. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for anyway. So we're going to let them dry for a moment, and I'm going to get my barrel. So these I do want to brush, or airbrush I mean, so I'm going to paint these off camera for a minute here and come back to that. But in the meantime, we can work on adding some of these details over here. So we have several of our little vents here. We're going to put red on the inside of them. So let me get my red paint, which is in my cabinet. So far though, I will say, like, I'm really happy with the color combos kind of going on between the natural deck color and all the white and everything. It has a real nice look to it. Now, whether or not I put some screens over this or not, I don't know yet. I gotta look and see if the real ship has any screens over it, because I do have several left over from Titanic. So if it's supposed to get screens, I'll do it. If not, I'll leave it be. But for that, I'll look at real pictures of the real ship. Okay, so I'll let that dry for a minute. Okay, meanwhile, we have the decking piece that we can go ahead and work on a minute. So I'm gonna make that my inside. And pulling this, there might have been a reason I wasn't supposed to glue that so tight. Doesn't want to fit quite perfect. So I'm gonna cut off these little nubs that are here because I don't think they'll line up with the deck anyhow. Oh, let's make sure we're putting it on the right side though too. Yeah, we are. Okay, good. So I'm gonna just kind of push that down in there. It's just a tad bit tight, and that's mainly my fault from gluing. So I'm going to trim just a touch off of each side. So I learned a little something there, huh? Okay, so now, hopefully this will kind of flush in better. Yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna hit it with a touch of glue from behind. And let that set for a second. Now, the staircase we already cut off, and I gotta see which way this is supposed to go. So this is gonna be this side, I do believe. Yes, this goes on this side. Okay, so I'm just gonna do a little bit of glue on the two tabs here, and one tab here. Okay, now right here where the step would go, it's not quite sitting how I want it to, so I'm just going to put a little bit of glue there on the edge. And this one I'm going to use a little bit of accelerant. Good. Oh, we may have made one small error. These may have been supposed to go in first. The directions could be clearer, because it doesn't give me a first second really. I think I can still kind of work that in on the other side. I mean, this one pretty much just pushes right in, so yeah, hopefully I can do that same thing over there. If not, I can just pop this off. It's not really that big of a deal. But for those of you at home, now you know. Yeah, I might get it in. I think I will, yeah. I cracked some glue there, I heard it. But it's gonna land pretty much how I need it to, so that is really all I'm caring about at this point, is that it kind of sits where it's supposed to. It seems to be doing that, so I know I kind of pushed it on the wall there. Off by just a touch. But I think it's pretty much in. So I'm gonna pop that up a little bit there. And yeah, I'm still not exactly happy with that. So I think my best move is to pop this back off for a second, just to get it set exact. There we go. So I think what was happening here is the CA right there was pushing on it and not letting it go where it needed to go. So I'm just going to actually use the knife to do that. Okay, so now we can re-glue this back on. And luckily, you know, it didn't cause any real problem. But yeah, learned a little lesson there. And now you know. Okay, and that makes sense why it was sticking up on that one side over there, right here when I first put it down. So not a big deal, an easy fix, but yeah, if you're doing this build at home, put those in first. Okay. Okay, so I got a little bit of glue stuck to my finger and peeled up some of the white paint, but that's okay because that's getting covered with decking anyway. And for the decking on this, on these small sections, I am not even going to attempt to Gorilla Glue it. I'm just going to use the adhesive because I'm actually quite impressed with how strong the adhesive is on this stuff. So let me peel this one off. And this is the side. Okay, beautiful. Let me do the other one. And then we will do our vents quick. And there's some other vents that we painted up, and that conning tower that we'll go ahead and put on. And then I think we'll pretty much wrap up this video because time is flying and we're probably just about at the length of my normal videos, amazingly. This is just flying right along. Oh, we'll still do that gun though. I did say that. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely end up gluing them. I'm almost sure of it at this point. Okay, so let's see here. We're going this way. That's why it looked backwards to me. So first up, we have our conning tower, which basically goes right there. And there might have been a hole for it. I want to check. Yes, there was. So I'm going to cut that off, that little nub there, and glue direct. And the good thing is, like, CA glue will stick the plastic right onto the wood without any issue whatsoever. So it'll be perfectly fine. Okay, now we have a water tank, and that goes right there where our open spot on the deck is. Okay. And we have a vent that I skipped intentionally right now. And then we have these two vents. I'm gonna have to paint the top of that white because I I actually used it to the top to be our gluing point. Not our gluing point, I'm sorry, our tape mounting point. Okay. So that's gonna need touch up. All right, and then we got this guy here, which just goes right there. And aside from our guns, that's pretty much it for pieces that we glued on this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint up our barrel quick. I'll do both of them, that way they're done. And we'll get them on. So give me a minute and I'll be right back. Okay, while the barrel is drying, I might as well go ahead and put the vents on the on here. So let me get some glue and grab my, I want to clean that off. Just has some stuff on it. Now, these, we covered the hole and we're gonna leave it that way on the deck here. I'm not gonna poke through. I'm going to cut this off instead and use the base as a mounting point. Like so. And it called for 5 of these in the picture, but it's actually saying 6 in the directions, and I didn't read that. So I'm going to be one short. I mean, I have another one. I just didn't paint all of them. So that'll have to come later. Just want to make sure they're pretty straight. More than likely, and I don't know this for sure, but most ships of that time, these would actually have been rotatable. And I would guess these probably are. I'm sure somebody would comment and tell me. But I'm going to put them all straight just for a uniform look. I want to make sure that's where that's supposed to go. They are not real clear in these directions. I actually want to look at the picture. Yes. Yes, that is correct. Okay, good. That makes me feel better. Alright, so obviously I need to paint one more to go here. We can go ahead and put this together a minute and get our windlass setup done. I think that'll come out fine, considering I'm missing the piece that's supposed to be there. I'm okay with how it's looking here. There we go. Okay. Now, in the directions, it gives the ability for this to be turnable, but the kit does not have... Oh, okay, so it goes down through, but even with it going down through... Oh, I see. Okay, so there's a little number 30 that clips down on the underside of here. But we can't do that until we get our barrel dry. So in the meantime, I'm just going to put our deck on to our top bridge a minute while we're waiting. And again, I'm just going to use the adhesive on this one. It's smaller, and like I said, this stuff is extremely strong. I'm actually pretty impressed with it, because I have used the adhesive decking before and it's lifted back up, but I do not remember it being this tacky. So whatever they used on this is quite good. Well, that's interesting. So that needs to come off of there. And I bet you that little piece of deck is then what goes here. Because if this is what I think it is, that may be a compass platform. The fit is remarkably good, honestly. Most impressive. Okay, let me take this little square out here, and then I'm gonna pause it and get our barrel, and hopefully go after that. So this does not center, or well, it is centered. Oh, I wonder if it's for that. I bet you it is. Come on. That was a dumb move on my part. Got it. That's what that's for, isn't it? Okay. We're good. And I know this ends up here, basically. So far, so good. Alright. Actually, okay, that's how it lands. It seemed off, that's why. Alright, I'm gonna pause it. We'll get our barrel. We'll see more of that on the next video, because I'm not going into that one on this one. But that's dry, and they look good, so I'm happy with that. But let me pause it, get the barrel, and we'll be right back. Okay, so here we are. We have our anchor crane, or not our anchor crane. I did put an anchor crane on right here. That other one I'm missing, so I'm gonna have to kind of custom make one of them. I think I'll figure that out though, as we're going. So now we're gonna go ahead and put this gun on. So this just basically goes like that, and then it comes down into here, like so. And then we need piece number 30, which I didn't grab ahead of time, of course, because that's the kind of thing I do. And I'm not seeing piece number 30. Oh, here they are. I was gonna say that I actually didn't mind if the guns don't move. I don't usually move them around too much, but we'll make them movable. Okay. Cool. All right, so now we have glue points here, here, and here. So I'm just going to put a dab of glue on the glue points and a little bit around the edge, just in case it's touching wood. And we're just going to drop that down on. Doesn't want to drop in. I'm telling you, these mounting points on this model are not the best, and I don't think it's from the paint. So, just an FYI. But that looks good. I'm pretty happy with it. I like my gun. Need to give it a little bit of pressure, and I'm going to hit it with some accelerant. There we go. All right. Now, while I was off the video, I went ahead and glued these two because they were annoying me. I kept bumping them. But yeah, this is pretty much going to wrap up the video for this episode, but there you go. You can kind of get a side view. Like I said, I miscounted, so I need to glue, paint one more of these, and I'm going to have to figure out this whole crane situation, but it really doesn't look like it'd be that hard to build. I have some what do you call it, styrene rod, and I think I can just basically make one, so that's probably what we'll end up doing. It might be a little off, but I think it'll be close, and once I hang a little chain and hook from it, it'll look fine, I think. So thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. I know I have the Arizona coming up soon, probably after this. I don't know if it'll be directly after this or not. I still got Cutty Sark on the docket. I still have Queen Mary 1. I have Queen Elizabeth 1. Yeah, I want to do more of these smaller builds. I think over the next amount of time, aside from Arizona or Cutty Sark, I got to look at what my schedule is going to look like and kind of figure it out from there. And of course, I still have to finish up the little bit left of Bismarck, but that really won't take that long once my motors get here. But anyway, thank you very much again for watching, and we will see you next time here on LC Model Shipbuilding.